Yeah!
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to M3 Wrestling. I am Brandon, your M3 champion, and alongside me always is the loser of the bunch, Andrew Christensen. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, you know, whenever you're trying to be the top babyface, the heat has to get some heel heat on you. So I thought that's what better way than to lose my belts just so I can regain it later.
Oh yeah. You're more of a chasing kind of guy,
right?
Anyway.
Yeah, more like Sting or something.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of won, just kind of off of default because, for those who may not have paid attention to our community page on YouTube, we've been doing predictions of current pay-per-views, WWE pay-per-views more specifically, and winner goes to those who calls it the closest, basically. And out of all of us, I had the more points. Yeah, it's kind of defaulted because it came down to the cash in. We all either.
It stinks when there's 5 matches on a show. You lose one match, like in the predictions thing, you're done.
Yeah. Andrew was out real quick, and he was the defending champion.
It's like a 4-hour in your house or something. 5 matches. Get out of here.
Yeah. Andrew was like, "Oh shit." He's a 0-2 real quick. He's like, "Well, I'm out." Pretty much.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah. So it came down to me and Kenny, and just one of those things where we were like deciding, well, what do we do in the case of a tiebreaker right in the middle of it? And everybody's like, I don't know, whatever, I don't care. And so I came up with something because, I pulled some heel shit and I've got the gold.
That's what a good heel does.
That's what you do when you've got it. I mean, this means everything to me. I mean,
he bought it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this, it's got to go to me just, at all times, if possible. Anyway, today on, I'm going to put this up here that way I don't want to parade around my shoulders. I'd love to just show it off the whole time, but
make you look like a bigger mark.
Yeah. Bigger mark than a couple guys on a podcast.
So what do we want to talk about first? The trailer? Before we get into the actual show?
Let's actually talk about that a little bit. I'm going to put this on this belt here, or on this table. We'll prop it up here and see if it'll stay. Show it off to the world. Okay. Anyway, let's talk the
Iron Claw.
The Iron Claw trailer. We've got a special world class edition of M3 podcast today, and we're gonna talk a little WCCW. And
I grew up watching world class kind of posthumously. So I did watch it as it was dying there at the end.
Yeah.
But they got on ESPN, and so they did Legends of World Class. And so whenever I'd get off my school bus as a kid, they would still be like halfway through the show. And usually I get to see the Von Erichs like that last half of the show. And so I grew up a big Von Erich fan, and I think that show went on clear until, after Kerry had died.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, if anybody doesn't know, and I'm sure most of you all do by this point, this movie Iron Claw is the story of the Von Erichs. Zac Efron is going to be playing Kevin Von Erich, I believe. And, I gotta say, he looks good. At the same time, he looks kind of weird to see him with that more of a chiseled jaw and like those super ripped abs.
He's as big as Kerry.
Yeah, I know he could be playing Kerry and not Kevin, really, because Kevin never got that big. But what do you think of the trailer? I mean,
I enjoyed it, man. There's some great moments in that trailer. I mean, there's a lot of good humor in there where she's telling David to put his pants on and stuff. But then there's some serious stuff like where Kevin's telling his brothers, I love being in there with you guys. It means the world to me. Kind of got me a little bit emotional. That part of the
as a fan, I imagine so. I'm interested to see what they do with it and how many liberties they might take with the official story or like, especially I'm sure they're going to show plenty of in-ring action, I'm sure. So I'm kind of curious to see how much they're going to modernize the action in the ring, because what we're going to talk about today and what the territories brought compared to what wrestling did in the 90s and beyond to now, it's way different.
Yeah. How
people win matches, the match setups, the styles, way different.
Yeah. You can tell when you look at those scenes in the ring where they're in there with the Freebirds, like the long shots, you can tell there's a lot of CGI in there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it looks really good. I don't know who they chose to play David, but like from a distance, he looks just like David Von Erich.
Yeah, he does.
And it looks like they got a lot of the moves down that they're doing. The way he runs the ropes in the opening of that trailer is just like spot on. Like, you can tell somebody's actually trained Efron just a little bit.
Yeah, and this is going to be an A24 film, so I'm both confident and nervous at the same time because I know as far as the story and the drama is concerned, it's going to be really good because that's what A24 excels in. Problem is, it also could be just boring.
Yeah.
So hopefully not. Hopefully they're wanting to move into more mainstream stuff. I'm hoping that this is a good way, even though it's more of a classic tale of wrestling and not a modern story. I'm hoping that it brings plenty of new fans in and maybe exposes them to the old territory stuff. And hopefully it's a way for A24 to maybe, I don't know about this movie in particular, but hopefully a little bit they'll move into like more of a mainstream feel.
It'd be great if it got big enough that WWE Network's like, oh crap, we need to move that territories icon to the front instead of the back where it's at now, and release more stuff.
At the very least, add as much as you can because they haven't added in a long time, and they don't have everything. Yeah. There's a lot of Mid-South that's missing.
Yep.
So I would really love to see them go through and try and get more. The thing, and this I'm not going to try to get off too. I don't want to get too far off subject, but the thing that pisses me off about Peacock and whatever they're doing or network, whoever's is making those decisions, they haven't added hardly anything that I can tell in the last little bit that they've been doing this.
Yeah.
They they started putting Sunday Night Heat on, and they haven't finished that. They've only got through like the first year and a half or two or something maybe. They've got some velocity, but it's only a few episodes. They still, I could have swore they had Shotgun Saturday Night, but I don't see it anywhere. Yeah. So that may have been on YouTube, and I may be mistaken, or it was on old network and they didn't put it. I don't know, but they need to get some of those old episodes, and there's plenty of stuff to add, and they haven't.
Yeah, yet. like Primetime Wrestling from the late 80s. There's a lot of episodes that are missing, and I'd love to see those. Yeah, and
I want to say they had Stampede at some point, and I don't know if Stampede's on there now.
Yeah.
If it is,
it's not now. I was just on there.
I feel like there was Stampede on there before, and I could be wrong about that. So if you guys are out there listening, correct me if I'm wrong. But I could have swore the network had some Stampede on there before, and they may not have. But they need to add that too, because I'm pretty sure they own that.
Yeah. Because I believe in the mid '80s, Vince bought it just so he could take the Bulldogs
and Brett and all. Yeah.
But we're pretty excited about this trailer. We're going to go see it whenever it comes out.
Yeah.
The opening week.
Yeah. So. And I wasn't really sure how to do like a live reaction of the trailer itself on the podcast yet. Sometimes those end up in a really kind of silly way, just sitting here watching it. But we've watched it. I encourage everybody else to go out there and watch that as well. Hopefully go to the movie. We're going to try and go and see that in theaters. I'm excited for it. Yeah. So, moving on to more WCCW, we're going to talk, one of the bigger, shows, probably one of the more notable shows of World Class. I think. What'd you say? The other one, Star Wars, was another one, and
Star Wars '83 from the summer's a really, really big one. Cotton Bowl '85 is really big. If you're out there and you're new to World Class and you want to start somewhere, those would be a really good introduction.
Yeah.
Or this show right here.
Yeah.
This is kind of the defining moment for World Class right here.
Yeah, right here. And it's a tribute show to David Von Erich, who had just passed a few months prior. Because this would be May, I believe. I wrote this down somewhere. Yeah, May 6th. He died in February. Yeah. And he died in Japan. And his death has had some share of not so much controversy, but there's been different tales of his death.
You almost wonder if somebody's covering something up.
Yeah, or just maybe in a way of either something was foul or they just didn't want to put it out there that it was worse than they initially said, and maybe the family didn't want at that time, since he was like the first one to go, they didn't want to put that negativity on, because they said it was like a heart attack. The family said it was a heart attack. I think both you and I had heard that he had some kind of intestinal issue. And he was complaining about being sickly and kind of weird before he got on the plane to Japan. and he ended up having this episode of a heart attack or something, and then died in the hotel room, I believe it was, in Japan. Ric Flair has said in the past that it was an overdose. And I don't know if there's been others that said that as well. If that's the case, was it accidental? Was, considering the history of the family later?
I think the only person that really kind of was there on the scene was Bruiser Brody, the one that found him in Japan.
I can't remember.
And the one that they say flushed anything.
Maybe. I can't remember.
I don't know how legitimate Ric Flair's claim would be. He's probably wrestling for Crockett at the time.
Yeah.
How would he know?
Well, look what happened to Bruiser Brody. We'll have to get into that one of these days.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan just came out and said that
he got his throat slashed. According to Hulk Hogan, he got his throat slashed and not just stabbed. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely something going on there. But either way, he died of heart attack or overdose. I think a lot of them claim overdose now. I think I don't know if it's official. Yeah. Either way, he passed away in February of '84. This was more or less a tribute show to him, because
it was kind of stated he was in line at some point in time, kind of like Magnum TA was in line at one point in time to win that title at some point. And so in the weeks leading up on World Class TV, there was actually a coin flip that Fritz had with Kevin and Kerry.
Really?
And of course, we all know, they even say it in the trailer of the movie, Kerry was always Fritz's favorite. So he ended up getting the nod. But
David gets the memorial here. This is Parade of Champions. This will be the first Parade of Champions. And then how many was there altogether?
They ran from 84 through 88.
88. Okay. So there's about 5 of them, it sounds like then. Yeah. But this one's the first. This is the first one. May 6th, 1984. For those of you that may want to watch this show beforehand, or maybe want to watch the show after we get done with the episode, you can find it on the network or Peacock. And I believe what you say is May 12th.
The episodes are May 12th, 19th, and 26th.
Yeah, there's 3 episodes because they break them apart. Some are one's like 40 minutes, one's like 35. But their matches, I think he's got the matches in the order that he watched them on the network. So for those who just have access to that or want to watch it on there, he's got that order there. It doesn't really matter. Just 12th, the 26th, and the 19th. And what you're going to get on the 26th, if you watch it on Peacock or on the network, you're going to get that Sportatorium event that was after. I don't remember what date that was actually on. Yeah. But you're going to see the final match that they showed from Parade of Champions, which was not the final match of the show. I think it was Kamala and Good Great Kabuki, maybe.
Yeah.
And then later on was the Sportatorium show where Kerry and Rick had the rematch.
Yeah. It would have been the following Friday because they had wrestling there every Friday night, but they only brought in the TV trucks every other Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
So it probably would have been the Friday following the 6th of May.
But this one, the event itself, the whole event actually took place May 6th of 84 in Texas, Irving, Texas, Texas Stadium to be exact. They claimed about 40,000 people in attendance. What I pulled off of one of the wikis or whatever was 32,123. That's probably possible considering they like to fluff numbers, even to this day. Who knows? Close enough. But yeah, if you want to watch this on YouTube, it is on YouTube. I know the first 3 for sure are. I'm sure all of them are on there. But if you watch it on YouTube, it will give you a pretty decent version, and it will even give you snippets of like the real original footage that has the licensed music during entrances. Some of them have entrance music back then, and you'll get like Tom Sawyer by Rush or a Tanya Tucker song, and we are family, for the
Cool in the Gang.
Yeah, so you're gonna get that, and you'll get the exact order if you want to watch it on YouTube, and it's all there and complete. So that's the way I would prefer to do it.
Yeah, that sounds like the best way.
Yeah, but if you want to do the Peacock thing or the network thing, that's cool too. Let's see how Andrew's more of the World Class guy. He's a big fan of World Class. I'm not saying that I'm not, but I'm not as schooled in it.
Yeah. To the point, I actually brought this to show everybody. Thanks to the power of eBay, I've actually got programs that I've bought from the actual. I believe this was from Reunion Arena Christmas '85. Or Thanksgiving '85.
Yeah.
So Dynamic Duo and the Von Erichs. So cool. Pretty big Von Erich fan. Pretty big
and I've never actually seen a program in like in person from like an old territory. So this was actually pretty cool. I like this a lot. Yeah. But for those of you, that are watching the video version of this, it's pretty sweet. Opens up just a one pager here.
Somebody's written the results.
Yeah, you got the whole card on the inside there. Somebody's written the results. They do like not the times, but the time limits and the number of falls and stuff. Pretty cool. But yeah, he's more of the world class fan. This isn't more new to me. I have seen some world class in the past, but not in this way where we're covering it. So a lot of this stuff is going to be new for me. So I'm seeing it with fresh eyes and more modern eyes.
So yeah, our ratings might be completely different. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to be as high up on this show as you probably will be, but I'm not like hard on it. I'm not gonna be hard on it by any means.
I was hard on a couple of them, but,
yeah, and it's going to come down to style, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. So let's get into it. Wiki.
Yeah, let's go with the actual running order of the matches, so we'll go with yours.
Okay, so yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you want to go by the actual order of the matches, and you're going to be able to tell how broken up it is once you hear this on the Peacock version, because obviously it's a little bit darker or lighter in the ring because it's Texas Stadium, so you got the sun peeking through the side there. So the first match, which... on this card, I'm guessing this might have been a dark match or something else, because there was Johnny Mantell versus Kelly Kiniski, and we didn't see that.
No.
So that might have been a dark or a prelude or something. That ended in a draw in 15 minutes. We're not going to talk about that because we didn't see it. I just went ahead and wrote it down because it's on this wiki. The first match was Chris Adams and Sunshine versus Jimmy Garvin and Precious. Now, you want me to read the whole card first and then go through, or do you?
No, we'll just go. Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you kick it off with this one.
So this actually had a pretty interesting angle. Sunshine actually was Jimmy Garvin's valet, and he decided to bring his actual wife in, who was Precious.
Yeah, that's
kind of the backstory here. And Sunshine actually came over one day, and Precious answered the door, and but it's really funny. Sunshine and Jimmy actually had more chemistry on screen than him and his actual wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's funny at the end of this match when they're walking out, Jimmy and Precious, there's women in the crowd calling her a whore and everything.
Oh man.
Yeah. At least I could hear it on the Peacock version.
That's awesome.
But yeah. So that's kind of the backstory to this. I can't remember exactly how Chris Adams got into it, other than he just was friends with Sunshine.
Okay. Well, you're going to know, even for stuff you don't know, you're going to know way more than me. So you're going to be able to provide me and everybody with a little bit of context, hopefully, for some of these little backstory. Because you're, like I said, you're the fan here. You've seen a lot of this stuff or whatever. But.
Yeah. I thought when the guys were in there, it was okay.
Yeah.
The girls, you could tell they weren't trained.
No.
Even the slaps looked
yeah,
really
it was
bad.
bad deal. Yeah, it was really, really rough looking. And me personally, it looked like dog shit. And like I said, the guys were okay, but it was just a really rotten match.
Yeah, they didn't have time to really do anything. And that's a lot to say because these two guys are really good workers.
Right, absolutely. And yeah, Chris Adams is really good. And Jimmy Garvin's really good.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, that backstory is which I didn't know until just right now.
Yeah.
But that backstory is probably what helps kind of understand the crowd reaction, because the crowd, which back then the crowd was hot during a lot of these shows, no matter what. Kayfabe was alive and well back then. And there was a lot more women back then that went to these matches that got into it. You can hear them screaming and going crazy. Even during this match, when the girls got into it, the girls in the crowd were like, "Oh my God!" You know, they were believing that the heels were getting the shit kicked out of them by the faces. Finally, they were getting their stuff in, and everybody's eating it up.
Yeah. To that point, with how hot this crowd is, when Kerry wins this title, spoilers at the end of this show. Oh my gosh! Everybody comes up off that football field, and it's wild. Yeah.
But I gave this match a 2, and I'm kind of more leaning like 1 and 3/4.
Oh, I went 1.5.
Okay, so I was actually nicer than you.
There's a couple of these I rated pretty low.
And the reason why I don't know how my ratings are going to look compared to yours going forward, but I tried to be a little bit more lenient, even though, because there's gonna be matches we've rated in, we've been going through 96, and we'll get back to that eventually, real soon. But we've been going with like pay-per-views from 96, and I might rate something a 2-star and it'd be way better than this match, but it's just the styles and the way things are so different. I'm kind of grading on a curve a little bit because, I have to grade on the territory scale as opposed to modern day wrestling scale.
Right.
And because that's what I'm used to and that's what I like more, at least that's what I'm used to seeing it more. So I have to kind of be a little more lenient on these, I think.
Yeah, I think story-wise, it was okay. Work rate-wise, it was really bad. So
okay. And that's why I kind of wanted to give it that one. And like, man, do I really go that bad on it? Because it was bad, but everything was so different back then.
Yeah.
And it, like, for the younger guys out there, the guys who may not even be young, like me, who are just now kind of getting more into old territory stuff, you're not going to see finishers. You're not going to see these wild finishes. You're going to see there's a lot of we got a lot of direct now and a lot of real goofy endings to stuff, especially in the 90s, but a lot of gagas, we like to say. There's a lot of gaga back then.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, and it's kind of like everybody's just, it's really uncoordinated. Camera work's bad and when you get so used to Kevin Dunn or somebody who's been doing the production side of thing and been hitting that camera angle stuff right, because that's a part of the format, a part of the story or part of the night. This stuff is more real seeming because, it's almost like amateurish.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the right word.
I will say, in defense of World Class, with not getting defensive, you look at 84 WWF, and World Class to me was ahead of them.
Well, and that might be the case because I haven't seen much of 84 WWF.
Yeah.
So now I might need to just for comparison.
When the Von Erich boys came in and they switched that show, I believe it was in late 81, early 82. They brought in, you never had boom mics or anything like that, or cameraman up on the apron. You usually had like a 2-camera shot.
Okay.
One back and one down at the ring. They had cameras all over. They, with the cameramen, and they had, guys up there. One of these matches, did you see the boom mic?
Yeah, I think that might have been in the Sportatorium.
Might have been
because, but you seen the boom mic reaching in under the ropes, and then you see him pull them back out of frame. But you might get some top down view or a little bit here and there, but then you'll get like a straight shot. Then you get underneath, like when they got not to get too far ahead, but like Ric Flair and Kerry, he got him in that sleeper hold. And then you got that nose shot, where he's right up there real close, showing Ric Flair's face. Yeah. And that stuff probably wasn't shown much back then.
No,
that's more of so I can give you that.
And you can hear, and of course in World Class, a lot of times, especially when it was the Von Erichs and Freebirds, they would lay into each other a lot harder. And with those boom mics there, you can really hear it.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even so much like the style, because like you just proved, it was ahead of, it sounds like it was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
But like there's also things in this pay-per-view that the camera completely missed because it was out there focused on the action.
I remember one of the finishes was completely.
Well, that was this match.
Yeah.
And because when I believe Sunshine dumped Precious, I think that's what it was, outside the ring. And I had to listen again. I had to roll back and listen because I didn't know there was a pinfall. Chris Adams pinned Jimmy Garvin. And I'm like, how? What happened? Sunset flip. Didn't see it. I don't know if they showed on the replay, but yeah, you just heard a sunset flip and then got the 3 count, but they were focused on
they were
the girls out there on the side, and which is fine, but it's like, in a more modern setting, you'd probably wait to show that pin. You'd have the guys do something else while those girls are fighting and then cut back to the pinfall. Yeah. So it's just, you see a lot of stuff like that back in these days where you're like, you miss everything. It's
being how this wasn't live to the audience, like the home audience, that's kind of unforgivable.
Right. And that's one of those things. It's like, that's bad. That's amateurish a little bit. And that like I said, I'm trying to be a little more lenient on because of the time, that's something that they figured out later that, and they've corrected it eventually. Yeah. But yeah, it's a little hard to follow in certain things because you're just like, they're just putting on their match and they're going, and I mean, you can watch old Mid-South episode and, them guys will, it might be a 3-minute match and they'll shoulder tackle somebody off the apron, or, they'll whip them through the apron, come back, shoulder tackle and pin them, and it's over. And you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
He just lost to a shoulder tackle? He just brake checked him. That's all he did.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
These guys shouldn't be, they haven't even been going 30 minutes. They've been going 5.
Yeah.
And this dude just like literally shoulder tackled him and got the win.
But in a way, like an old school fan like me, I miss that. I don't think every match on a big show like this needs to go 20 minutes in 50-50 booking.
Well, no, I agree with you there. Yeah. I do agree. It just, I don't, and I'm not even saying everything has to end on a finisher, but I would like to at least, the roll-ups, sneaky roll-ups, get the best of somebody. I don't mind that. Or hit some kind of big move or something.
Yeah.
I don't mind seeing those guys back in the 80s hit a superplex off top rope and pin somebody.
Yeah.
I like that. But I hate it. I hate seeing shoulder tackles. Just a normal, Butch Reed does.
Butch Reed, yeah.
And we're going to talk about, let's get into the next match. Butch Reed, Hacksaw Butch Reed, beats Chick Donovan.
Chick Donovan, yeah.
He does military press him over his head first
beforehand and drops him,
and then he taunts to the crowd, and as he starts to get up, he backs into the ropes, comes off the ropes, and then does a flying shoulder tackle, and then almost splash like, and then lands on him, pins him. He did hit the military press beforehand. But it's like, dude, I would rather somebody military press somebody and slam them and then that be the pin than to just run over and shoulder tackle. I don't know, dude. But I'm a little more new school. I'm not so new school that I want to see high spots like AEW. But I'm still that guy who grew up with finishers. Yeah. So I want to see some devastating move to win.
And I think that was Butch Reed's finisher in Mid-South.
Was it really?
The shoulder block.
That's a terrible finisher.
I think maybe he hit it off the second rope or something, which would have been more impressive had he done that.
Well, that would have been a little more forgivable. Yeah. And like I said, the fact is I am trying to be a little more lenient here, but I can't be as forgiving on stuff like that because it's not my fault. I mean, I've seen too much. I've seen way too much. Now, if I was a fan in the 80s, I wouldn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now it's like, man, him not hitting like at least a power slam or something like that would have been way different than just elbowing something. Like I hate that shit too. Just back elbowing somebody. You see that all these matches where you just catch like a running back elbow and then, well, I'll pin him and then it works.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about how good Butch Reed is in this match, though. Do you hear him working the crowd the entire time?
Yeah,
just constantly running that mouth. To me, Butch Reed in this time, 83, 84, 85. I know Ric Flair was champion, but I really think he probably should have been the first black NWA champion at that time.
Yeah,
because he was so over between. He was just coming in for a shot, but you watch those Mid-South shows.
Yeah. And
he's so good at this point in time, even on the mic.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about it on this show before, how I thought that was Farouk at first. Because I was like laying in bed and it was dark and I'm like, what? And I'm like, is that Farouk? And then Ron Simmons came out. Once I figured I was Butch Reed and Ron Simmons came out after, I'm like, holy shit, they're both on this show.
Yeah. Yeah. Big fan of Butch Reed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Butch Reed, man, he was a big, good-looking dude. He had that big jacked body, and honestly, as goofy looking as he was in the face, Chick Donovan had a good physique.
Yeah, he was never all that great in the ring. I think he was in and out a couple of times in world class at this time.
Well, you can kind of tell it. I thought they both did a good job here. I thought it was a good match. I gave this a 2.25. Just because it was a solid match. My only complaint was him winning off a shoulder tackle.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I gave it a 2, but I could go 2.25 for this one.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like I said, I don't mind him working the crowd. He looks good. Anything with Butch Reed and it's good usually. These old shows, man, they're crazy.
Just shows you can catch a back elbow at any time and get pinned.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it does make it like more unpredictable, and I guess it makes it like seem more real to a point, like a real competition, like a real sport. But it's just like, man, this is you still think that these guys haven't been going that long. They haven't been really beating each other up that much. You know, the crowd, of course, kayfabe was alive back then. Crowd probably thought so. But it's like when you see it, you're like, it's really hard to believe these two jacked up dudes have done enough damage to each other just to lose off of an elbow drop or something. You know, I was like, it's not, it's weird. And we'll talk about the Iron Claw later. Kamala versus the Great Kabuki. This was the last match shown of the event on the May 26th edition on the network. This is actually the third match of the night. I didn't like this one at all.
I actually thought it was one of the better Kamala matches, considering the two styles were so different.
Oh, well, that's
the martial arts and the whatever style Kamala has.
I don't know enough about Great Kabuki to say to have a real opinion. I thought he did a pretty decent job. I know he's like a legend.
Yeah. Gary Hart brought him in to kind of be a foil for the Von Erichs there in the beginning.
Okay.
You can kind of look at him as the precursor to the Great Muta with the face paint and the mist blowing.
For sure. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, this went to a draw in like 12 minutes. A lot of gaga in these next 2 or 3 matches because it's all the same managers out there bringing their guys one by one basically out.
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't ever remember Gary Hart being a babyface, but him and Skandor Akbar are getting into it here. Yeah. And they're actually cheering Gary Hart. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, they're not. Well, he's definitely not. He's not like being a face. But yeah, just the fact that you got the other other ones are so, General Akbar so heelish that you're like, well.
Yeah, it's such a caricature of a.
Yes. But I gave this 1.5 stars.
I gave it 2.
Okay. I didn't much care for this one. I thought it was just whatever, just another like Kamala match. And nothing against people who like Kamala. Yeah. Not a fan.
There at this time he could go. It may have been a clash of styles, but there's some stuff in Mid-South in like 83 where he's moving really well. Like doing leapfrogs and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might check that out. Yeah. But it doesn't take long after because he's not, I don't know. Yeah. The longer you go with Kamala, you're like, as cool as he looks, his character kind of is. Ooh, it's hard to watch him. So you gave this 2?
Yeah.
Junkyard Dog beats the Missing Link.
This to me was the worst match on the show.
I gave this one another 1.5. And I'm more inclined to agree with you. This was a 6-minute DQ match. And like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, everybody talks about how bad the Attitude Era and some of these other eras were about wonky finishes. Like, you got them here.
Yeah.
You get them here in the mid card. Like that. You get the managers getting involved with each other or getting in the ring, refusing to get out, and the referee's like, well, all right, we're either gonna draw the match or we're gonna DQ somebody. Yeah. So This was another one like the last one. It's a clash of styles. They're too similar. Two guys that use the headbutt like crazy. Yeah. And why would you match these guys up? Junkyard Dog, like Butcher Reed, was on loan from Mid-South just for this one show. And Missing Link was actually, I believe he was part of their show at this point in time, which his matches are hard to watch too. Oh, man.
He likes to grab the back of his head and ram it into people.
So dumb.
It comes out to Quiet Riot's Bang Your Head.
I mean, I do like that song.
Yeah.
He looks ridiculous too.
But yeah, this to me was the worst match on the show. I gave it a 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Nothing but headbutts.
Oh my gosh. A super kick party, headbutt party.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't. I didn't write their names down. I forgot their actual names. Rock and Soul.
Yeah.
Do you remember their names?
Yeah, we're getting to better stuff now.
Yeah, we are. They defeat the Super Destroyers, the Super Destroyer 1 and Super Destroyer 2.
Yeah. Who are the Irwin brothers. Wild Bill and Scott Irwin.
Yeah.
You might know Wild Bill, all you 90s fans, as the Goon from the WWF.
Yeah. The notorious Goon.
And Rock and Soul.
The legend.
We're Buck, Rock and Roll Zoom Off, and Iceman King Parsons.
That's right. Yeah. Iceman, yeah. This was for the NWA American Tag Team titles. This was a good match.
Yeah.
This was a good tag match. They were doing tag team moves. They were in sync. I love that towards the end where they did the sunset flip rolls on both of them. One come off and done it, and the other one come off.
I figured that was the end right there.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was going to be a double pin finish. Nope, not the end. But still a good match, good solid match. I like everybody involved here. They're the ones, Rock and Soul's the one that came out to We Are Family. That probably won't be on the network version.
Yeah.
And I gave this like 2 3/4.
Yeah, I gave it 2.5. I enjoyed it. I wish they're capable of more, I think.
Yes.
The Super Destroyers are the ones that I remember seeing the Superplex from first in the early to mid 80s like this.
Okay.
I think he may have done it in Mid-South in 83. Whenever, I can't remember which one just came in as the Super Destroyer, but I always liked them, with Skandor Akbar with them. And,
again,
yeah, Rock and Soul. That was good. This is a feel good moment. And what did you think of the finish with the butt? Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So Iceman Parsons' finisher, he didn't really hit it here like he did normally on TV, where he'd whip the guy in, run, and he would get some air and get his butt in their face as they're running at him.
Yeah.
Here he just looks like he kind of blocked him out of a basketball shot.
Yeah.
So I thought the finish was
maybe it was the 90 degrees thing. I don't know. It was like 90 degrees in there. You know, it's hot.
Hotter in the ring.
I guarantee it's hotter in the ring. The lights and everything else. There was not probably much wind right there. I don't know. Yeah, it was okay. The match as a whole was good though.
Yeah. And
I will say that back then tag team wrestling, for the most part, was pretty fun. Was good. You got a lot of wonky shit on some of the TVs, the short TV taping, especially like you get like Rock and Roll Express and stuff. You know, they were just as bad about going out there and winning in 3 minutes with a goofy move and getting out of there. You know, just draw. Midnight Express was really bad about doing that shit and getting out there and drawing heat and it was annoying. There was no really chicanery. It was clean wins. Like they were clean pins on these guys. But a lot of times they'd get some jobbers or goobers or whatever to go out there and beat in 3 minutes. And that isn't always fun for me.
Yeah.
Go back and just to go back there. Like I want to go back and try and enjoy some classic wrestling. And then you watch that and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I was hoping for at least a decent little match, 5 minutes, not, a 3 minute just.
Yeah, I had a hard time as a kid watching like the Superstars and challenge tapings because that's all they were.
Yeah.
You would get a big angle. That's why I liked Mid-South and World Class a little better. I mean, they would do stuff like that, but you would still get like.
I mean, you're still continuing angles until the next big match. So I do appreciate that aspect of it. And I do love, like with Midnight, I love the constant tagging in and tagging out because they were keeping each other fresh. I like that idea. It was just, but when you get in there and like I said, you steamroll a team in 3 minutes and you beat them with a dumb move, it's still like, man, can you not at least, you don't have to be a 50-50 match all the time, like you said.
But they would also have like a main event match, like with two guys and maybe a mid-level match. It wasn't just complete squashes all the way across the board. Yeah. Is why I preferred those as 80s.
Yeah. I do like Mid-South stuff, especially. I like more like mid to late 80s. Mid-South, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the closer you get to 90s wrestling is when like I'm like, okay, I can tolerate this a little bit more. And it's not because I have any disrespect for the old stuff, but just sometimes I gotta be in the mood. Speaking of moods, the crowd had a mood, and that was we're gonna get behind the Von Erichs, which it's Texas. This next match was phenomenal. At least fun.
Before we talk about the match, when you talk about the video.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of the world premiere of Bad Street USA?
Yeah, you're going to see this on, I think it might be at the beginning. Was it the beginning of the show on the network?
Probably.
So this aired prior to this match on the YouTube version.
As it should have.
Yeah, this video came out after the tag title match. This is for the World Class 6-man tag team titles. This is the Freebirds versus the Von Erichs. And that music video was insane. I mean, it's classic.
It's kind of racist in some spots.
Yeah. Well, it was the 80s,
Yeah. But no, I enjoyed it. And Michael Hayes' bad lip syncing of the song in that. I like the song Bad Street USA.
I do too.
His his vocals in the verse are just ridiculous.
Yeah, I won't. Yeah.
His Billy Gibbons.
Yeah. The chorus part's great.
Yeah.
Like it's a catchy tune. But yeah, well, it's Michael Hayes. He's over the top goofy and just, everything. And I like Michael Hayes, but damn. This match, though, we saw the Fabulous Freebirds, which was Buddy Roberts, Michael P.S. Hayes, and Terry Gordy take on the Von Erichs. In this case, it was Fritz, the father, and Kevin and Mike.
Yeah. And Mike hadn't been in the business long at all.
Yeah, Mike hasn't been in the business. He's new to the business. David, as we mentioned, had passed away. This is a memorial for him. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was you're like one of the most defining, I'm not saying tag matches, but like just if you think 80s world class, like if it just, even if you don't know much about it, if you think, you always hear Von Erichs versus the Freebirds and how wild they were and how crazy that feud was and how wild the crowd was.
This
encapsulates all of that. I mean, you had this guy, they come out, guys, they were fighting. The Freebirds were attacking the Von Erichs as they were getting in the ring, they're throwing chairs, cheap shots. The match didn't even start yet. The referee's trying to get this under control. The announcer's like, oh my God, they're going to have a hard time getting this, going or getting under control. Kevin deflects a chair that Terry or somebody throws and cuts his finger. So he's already bleeding in his hand before the match even starts. The referee gets on the horn and's like, listen, the rules are, there are no rules. But there's going to be one rule.
One at a time.
Yeah. You will tag in and you will tag out.
It's
not going to be a 6-man. This is going to be a tag, one tag. And I like that. I love the referee getting on there and getting real stern with them. I love that shit.
David Manning, that referee, was actually part of The Office.
Okay.
Bronco Lubitsch, the other referee, the slow referee that would only get down on one knee.
Dude, I was going to mention, I wrote that down.
He was also a part owner.
Okay.
But, David Manning, he actually helped book the shows. So,
dude, I actually wrote that up here on my notes too. Just
Bronco Lubitsch.
Ref Pin's so lazy I didn't remember his name. Dude, this guy, literally, this fat old guy, just got down on one knee with one leg out and just tapped just reached down and tapped the ground. He didn't get on his he wasn't on his belly. Just wow, like that last ref was. Yeah. He got in there and just boop, boop, boop.
And if any old world class fans like me are listening to this right now, you're laughing at Brandon's reaction to Bronco because we've all thought it.
Oh my God, dude, I was like losing it, and he's done that multiple times.
Yeah.
He did it at the Sportatorium the next time around. I was like, dude, this is driving me crazy because you're used to the ref being a part of the show so much too that they're really
diving over people.
Yeah, right, yeah, dude, I loved Kyoto or Earl or whoever, just who just basically. Charles Robinson, I can't remember what pay-per-view it was when the referee got knocked out and his ass dead sprinted like half a mile all the way down and then slid. Was it him or was it Kyoto that slid all the way across the ring? Basically, because he had so much speed.
I'm thinking it was Lil Nate.
It was Lil Nate.
Yeah.
He dove all the way across the ring and just really, that was the coolest. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like, that is how you do shit.
And Bronco's painstakingly counting the 3.
Dude, it just goes to show you the refs are really important and you should not shit on the refs here. And he was shitting on himself. AEW the wrestlers are burying the refs.
Yeah.
This dude's burying himself.
Yeah. But I guess he was office and all the boys liked him.
Oh, so, I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But damn, dude.
Yeah. Looking back, it doesn't hold up very well.
This match, though.
Yes.
Great. Mm-hmm. Absolutely amazing. The crowd was hot. This is what you want out of wrestling, no matter what generation you are.
I thought it was a little too short.
It was a little too short. It got, again, this is my only bugaboo. It got a little wild because, not that it didn't fit, because it fit it perfectly, because things just out of control. These guys hate each other. And the crowd was just crazy. But again, at least the camera caught it this time. But there you got 6 guys in the ring all over the place.
Kevin flying out of the corner?
And then Kevin's the one that dove off the corner, which was a good finish, by the way. Yeah. But it's like like Terry, like they done a double whip from corner to corner and bashed Freebirds. And then they done one, I think it was a Freebird versus a Von Erich. I think it was Mike. one of them got at the end too, right as Kevin was coming off. So you had two of them down, but Terry was up, but his back was to Kevin. So he didn't know what was going on. And Kevin was hitting this thing without Gordy even knowing it. And he already had the 3 count by the time, Gordy turned around. He's like, oh,
that happened a lot in the 80s.
It did. And but it's like, oh dude, I know I'm so used, and I know this might be a knock against me because I'm so used to produced wrestling, but it's just like, wow, this is, it made it feel, I'm hitting stuff. It made it, because I'm getting animated. it makes it feel out of control, which I guess in turn makes it feel more real. But at the same time, it just makes it feel like a cluster. And you're like, I don't know, like things, like, it's like things can be happening because you're so focused on so much things. I'm worried that if you don't really pay attention because you're worried about what's going on over here, that you're going to miss this, and then you're going to miss your
but you're not going to get up and go get something to snack on because you're focused on what's going on.
I mean, that's true. You're right. That's true too.
That's kind of the reason why when I was growing up as a kid, I liked it because it was different from what the WWF had, and even what the NWA or WCW had. It was, to me, the shots they were laying in seemed more real, and it was a little bit more, like you said, chaotic, a little bit out of control.
And I guess as I'm talking about it, it's not as bad as it seemed in my head, but at the time. But it's just like, oh, man, I'm worried you miss your heat or you miss your pop, by focusing too much over here. And I'm more mad about the Precious. Not that I'm invested in that match, but the Precious thing was dumb. Completely missing the finish was dumb. This didn't do that, but it's still like, it just sometimes, as cool as chaotic is when everything's hot, it was just too much, because it wasn't like you would see nowadays where you have this finish where it gets wild and you got people coming in left and right and hitting finishers and rolling out and getting crazy, and crowds like, oh my god, they're back and forth, and then you get a finish and the place blows. This one was just chaotic right here, and then it felt like it felt almost abruptly ended, right? Like
there wasn't like a crescendo. There was just a lot of chaos.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. It was just chaos, and then it was over, and you're like, you don't have time to process anything because you're focused on what the hell's going on from point A to point B and C, and then he's diving off the rope, and that's the end. Okay. I mean, you're excited, but you're at the same time, you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, I understand the crowd caught it, so I can understand the crowd popping because in this time frame. But me on the couch, I'm not popping. I'm just like, it's over? What? Okay.
I'll tell you what I liked about this match was just how hard hitting it was.
It was.
From, Kevin getting busted open by a chair flying in to them taking off their cowboy boots and hitting each other upside the head with the heels of them.
Yeah, Gordy was walking around half the match with one boot on, one boot off.
Fritz.
Just throwing boot heels at Fritz.
Yeah.
And then Fritz, gets him in the double iron claw. Yeah. And
what I didn't like about this match was Buddy Roberts using his belt buckle to headbutt people with. That looks
yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't understand that offense, how that works.
No, just shoving your dick in somebody's face.
It's Buddy Roberts. He's pretty offensive anyway. So.
Yeah, he is. Well, he's a little rough.
What'd you rate this?
I gave this 3.5.
Yeah.
This was a really fun match. I don't even know what a fair rating would be. That's just kind of like it's got.
How did you feel?
Yeah, it's how I felt and what it did for me. Even though there's a lot of gaga, and I wasn't as angry at the finish, but I wasn't as impressed with the finish. I think it's just all. I don't know. All I could give it is about a 3.
I wanted to go 3.5. You went 3.5. I'll go 3.5 too.
Yeah, I think
it was fun for what it was.
It was fun. And the thing is, I think just because that feud was so hot, those guys were so good at what they did, and then the crowd was so into it. You really felt like, even as a person, like I didn't feel it the whole show until this moment, really, because as a guy who is not the biggest fan of territory stuff, I mean, I'm not against it, but I'm still learning. I'm still getting into it. No context, no background on these guys.
Going into a cold match,
Going into a cold match. I know obviously more about the Freebirds and the Von Erichs than I do, Butch Reed, or not Butch Reed, but Rock and Soul. But this you can watch this cold and be like, cool.
Because they're at this point
wild.
in the feud, there is a 1.5 years worth of build
Yeah.
And right now we're talking about by the time WrestleMania rolls back around, Cody and Roman will have a year.
Yeah.
But a whole year and a half, that's unthinkable.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It is nowadays for sure.
Yeah.
Great. Also the end of the match, once it got over, I wrote this down too because I did not want to forget it. It was hilarious. It was also wild. But I'm pretty sure you can't say the word Oriental anymore.
Killer Khan.
I don't think you can. But anyway, but this guy shows up. Who was it that showed up?
Killer Khan.
Killer Khan. Okay, so he shows up, and the announcer's like, "Oh my God, this big, mean Oriental looking guy just showed up. I've never seen this before." And then he's like, "Oh, he comes in with the Oriental spike, and he just Oriental this, Oriental that." I'm like, "What the hell?"
I think even by the 90s, they were calling it the Asiatic spike.
Like, listen, I'm not offended, obviously, but right. I don't care about it.
It's just out of place today.
But you're just like, wow. Like I said, it's not so egregious that,
especially coming from Mark Lawrence, who went to seminary and is a preacher.
Right.
It's an Oriental.
Like I said, it's not as egregious as other things would be to the modern audience, but it's still like that. I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that you can't say that anymore.
I think I'm triggered.
Yeah. I think if I think if I was the triggered kind of person, I might be triggered by that, but I'm not. So, but I did have to write it down because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, only in the 80s. Yeah. Well, not only in the 80s, but it was awesome.
If we watch more World Class, you'll probably hear more of that.
Yeah. The Oriental gentleman here is a mean son of a bitch. And the Oriental spike, that just killed me. Oh my God, just kept Oriental this, Oriental that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Anyway, so let's get to the main event. And this is where you get the Tom Sawyer and the Tanya Tucker. If you're watching the YouTube version, this is Kerry Von Erich, the, what did I say earlier off camera? It was like the Ultimate Warrior, not Ultimate Warrior. It was, what did I say? Just goofy looking dude.
Yeah.
Horse face looking guy. Yeah. He had a big, nice body, like good looking athlete, and not a bad looking, the worst looking guy, but it's just that mouth of his.
But he was the one the girls took to.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, I can see he had the long hair,
yeah.
and manly looking. I get it. I said he looked like the jacked up version of the blonde brother on the Bee Gees. What's his name?
I can't. Gibb. Donald Gibb or something.
Which one is Barry Gibb? What's his brother's name? Damn it. Anyway, yeah, it was.
Oh no, Donald Gibb was the guy in Bloodsport.
Yeah. Barry Gibb.
Din Mac.
Barry Gibb's brother. He was the high pitch one, the one that Justin Timberlake plays in that skit.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, that's him. He had the teeth coming out of his mouth, and pretty much just anyway. I'm not trying to be a shithead, but yeah. Kerry Von Erich versus Ric Flair. This was cool. This was awesome, man. Anytime you see Ric Flair in the 80s.
And Kerry had shots before. The Freebird feud actually started because Christmas night in 82, he had a Ric Flair beat in a cage match. And he was actually getting ready to leave the cage. And Michael Hayes, well, little bit of context here. Rick had Kerry beat. Michael Hayes hit Flair, I believe, with his left hand, knocked him out.
Okay.
Tried to throw Kerry on. Kerry wouldn't take the pin.
Oh,
went to leave.
Mr. Noble, huh?
Went to leave, and Terry Gordy came down and slammed the cage door in his head.
Oh, okay.
That's the first time I remember a cage door ever being slammed on somebody's head. And so he'd had his shots against Flair before, but always come up short.
Yeah.
So this is in the honor of his brother.
Yeah. In the honor of David, he come out with the jacket and had in memory of David or whatever.
The Yellow Rose.
The Yellow Rose.
David was the Yellow Rose of Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really cool. This was a solid match.
Yeah,
I gave this a 3 3/4 too.
Yeah, I went 3.5.
Yeah, just this, and I kind of leaned in 3. I was like 3.5, 3 and 3. Yeah, I was right there. This is 11 minutes and 24 seconds. Not the longest title match that you're going to see. Solid.
Yeah,
from front to back, start to finish. This was a good, solid 1-on-1. The crowd was hot.
Yep.
The night was perfect. The area, the setting was perfect. Everything, memorial of his brother. Just solid back and forth here. You got to see Kerry show off his chops. Ric Flair's always good. Always tells a story.
Kerry with those standing drop kicks.
Yes.
And I messaged, I think we were both watching this last night, And I'm messaging Brandon. I'm like, man, if Kerry hadn't jacked up his foot and got hooked up on drugs, and there's no telling in the 90s what he could have went on to become.
Yeah, because he was in the WWF in 91.
Yeah, clear through 92.
92, yeah. So he was the Texas Tornado?
Texas Tornado, yeah.
But yeah, and you actually told me something I didn't know. I didn't know he lost his foot.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea. Yeah, he was wrestling for like how many years?
And I'm glad that, this movie, from 86. Well, he had the motorcycle accident in May 86 and didn't come back until November 87. So he tried to come back too early and ended up crushing the foot.
Oh, did he?
They repaired.
Oh, okay.
So,
you said prosthetic?
His prosthetic, like a partial prosthetic, I think. But I guess, Kevin, if you ever listen to his shoot interview that he did with maybe RF or something, he talks about, I'm going to go off on a sidebar if I can. He talks about how they went way down South Texas, down by the Gulf, and Kerry used to like to swim at night, off the coast, and Kerry would take his leg off and leave it there on the shoreline because there's nobody there to see him at night.
Right.
And he came back up one night and they couldn't find his leg. The waves had washed it back in.
Oh no.
And so they finally get the leg, and they'd been drinking, and so they're laughing, and he's trying to get the leg on, and it won't suction the way it's supposed to. And this night security guard's coming up because at that point they're laughing and drunk and laughing. And the guy's like, "Are you guys okay?" And pulls the flashlight up. Kerry's got the leg on where the foot's backwards. And he, being a wrestler, he sells it and bites his knuckles. Yeah. but yeah, he wrestled on that leg like that for a long time, and
I didn't know
he could never throw drop kicks like that again. But
oh man, I did not know. That's so crazy. Yeah. He got Ric Flair with the backslide.
Yeah.
On this one, backslide pin, and then the following match, the rematch on the Sportatorium, which you'll see on that May 26th, I think, episode at the end, was a really good match too, and he ended up retaining and beat Ric Flair again. This time with kind of cool, like a little cool small package, not a small package,
abdominal stretch,
like a abdominal stretch cradle thing. Yeah, it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
It was. Man.
If you read Flair's book, I have it at home. I was trying to find it. I'm not sure where I put it, but he talks about trying to lead Kerry through the match, and he said he went with the backslide because it's really hard to screw up.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
The guy's brother died, and there were substance issues there.
Yeah.
So
and that continued all the way through. Yeah. Unfortunately, what a sad, tragic story. The Von Erichs, man. I cannot believe. Most of them boys killed themselves. Man, shot themselves. It took too much drugs.
But this was their night.
This was their night.
When that hand hit 3, that crowd came up, and it was wild.
Yeah, and it was a good 3. It was a good ref count. Like it wasn't that lazy motherfucker. Just man. I mean, he was getting into it, and what I loved about it too was he when he come down, he did that. He didn't do a slow pin, but he did like a really exaggerated like pin that was just 1, 2, so you added that drama because there was a little bit of length there.
Yeah, it was legitimate.
It was a legitimate 3 count, and that was good for me. Like I'm like, that was so satisfying.
Was that Manning again?
I think so. It was so satisfying to me. I think the guy in the red shirt, black shirt, just man, super satisfying. The whole thing was good, even with the backslide finish, which I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's still
catch a guy in a small package.
That's what I'm saying. You catch a guy off guard for a few seconds, and you make him pay for it. And then Ric Flair comes up like, what happened? What just happened to me?
Yeah.
He did that in that next match too. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Because it kind of keeps them from looking too weak, and you still get the win, and you still get that moment. Solid match, solid card, solid. It's not the best card of all time. They really build that.
It's very top heavy.
Very top heavy. But it was a good show. I do recommend it for those who might want to kind of come into territories or world class. I do recommend you're gonna have, there's some gaga on it too, and you're probably gonna find yourself like, what the hell, through some of these matches. But when you get toward that Rock and Soul match is good, but especially when you get to those last 2 matches with the Von Erichs, you'll see, okay, this is why they were such a big deal.
Yeah, and people always say they're as big as the Dallas Cowboys. They didn't sell it out, so I don't think they're quite as big as the Dallas Cowboys.
No.
But you can see just how much the people loved them in this show.
Yeah, and people running wild, people running in the background all over the place. It was a raucous crowd. I liked it.
And I was debating when me and Brandon were talking about what to do, whether to show him this or the 83 Star Wars show, because work rate wise, it's going to be a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Than this. That the Von Erichs are broken up a little more.
But when you said it was the memorial show for David, and I saw the title match with him and Rick, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what we want. Yeah. I want to do that one. But we'll might visit that next time we do World Class. We'll do Star Wars next, and then we've got we didn't do any. We didn't talk about was it Fastlane, or what was the last one?
Was it Fastlane?
Was it Fastlane?
I can't remember. There were only 5 matches.
I've already forgot. I think it was Fastlane. I'm sitting here. We sat there and talked about winning the championship, but I'm pretty sure it's Fastlane. Either way, we didn't talk about that. I'm not even going to worry about it now at this point. It's been long enough. It was an okay show too. It wasn't great. I'm trying to think all what happened on it. Oh yeah, well, there was no cash in, so
yeah.
It was.
That was the one where Seth Rollins beat Shaky Nakamura.
Oh yeah. That's right.
3 moves at the end of the match.
Yeah, dude, what a bullshit. You get in the crowd and then you just he gets his ass kicked and then just does this Super Cena thing where he just pulls out a couple moves.
The Hogan deal in the 80s.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to say this, and I know you're going to disagree, but I'm starting to go down on Seth Rollins. Yeah. He's starting to go down a notch in my book every fucking time I see him. I think he's
is
really
he legitimately hurt?
I don't know, maybe. I think he's good. I think he's a good worker, and he's one of the better ones in probably the last decade. I will definitely give him that. I know you like his gimmick now. I think it's dumb. I don't. And he seems like he's having fun. I don't hate it. Yeah. And that doesn't even really what bothers me. It's just I'm getting that Cena effect with him, where he's not. He's not Super Rollins necessarily. That was just a similar finish, but he's starting to fall into this, and I know a lot of them end up doing this, but he's starting to fall into this thing where his matches all look the same to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is.
I think he's getting to the end of his rope with that title. I don't think he can go very much longer with him.
No, I don't think he is a top tier longevity style world champion. Yeah. I think he's a cool interim, that good. What's the word? The transitional champion. I think, or if you give him a few months run, that's fine. He's not a Roman. And I wouldn't even said that probably about Roman 3 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, but he's not a Roman. Thank
God he's not a Roman.
Well, I know what you mean by that, but, he's not what I imagine like Walter or Gunther could be as a heel champion, who's somebody who you really you can dominate for 6 months to a year, and he's not a John Cena type guy who can hold a championship belt for a long time, even though Cena's in-ring work towards the end was you know what I'm kind of saying though,
they've not booked him the best either though, because 2 months in a row against Finn Balor, 2 months in a row against Nakamura, they need to be bringing more guys up.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Stale.
Yeah. It's like you've got one show, you've got a guy who's defended his belt 4 or 5 times in this 1 year. And then on this next show, you've got the workhorse champion who's defending it every night, but it's the same dude, or it's the same match. And it's like, so really, is it that much better? I mean, yeah, he is working, but he's, and I don't want to say he's phoning it in, but it's the same thing. Like, I'm seeing the same thing, and I don't want to see Kevin Owens in a title match. I don't want to see Nakamura. Finn Balor, he's probably a little too small. I wouldn't mind seeing Finn Balor get his due, since he lost it and never really come into his own after he got injured by Seth Rollins. But yeah, you're right. There's got to be more guys that you're throwing into this picture, and it's just not happening yet. And I'm trying to be patient with all of it. But it's with Seth right now, it's starting to wear thin.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. I mean, I still enjoy him a lot more than watching Roman at the Big Four.
Yeah, I know.
Not the only time he wrestles anymore.
I know. And I know the purpose of what they're doing. I'm not saying that it's the greatest thing, whatever. But I'm just kind of with that. I've accepted it, so I'm biding my time so we can move on. Because once we move on from Roman, we can probably get some better, programs out of that belt.
Yeah.
And, I think once I say it'll be Cody. So once Cody gets it, we can see how he carries it. And then we can get Cody versus whoever, LA Knight or whoever he's got.
Cody's going to defend it at least once a month, which is the way a championship should be.
I think so too. I think Cody will defend it a lot more than Roman will, which is not saying much, but I think it definitely will be once a month.
You can't beat Cody twice, can you?
Dude, if you do, you've ruined him.
Yeah.
And you've pissed me off. I think at this point, I've accepted the fact that he lost last WrestleMania because I am willing to give him a chance to give me that old school long build, and they're doing it. We're not the best, but they're doing it. Because that little meeting between him and Roman the other night on SmackDown was why.
I've not seen it yet.
We talked about the Judgment Day getting the tag titles back because Jimmy interfered and cost Jay the match. And so they lost the tag team championships back to the Judgment Day. Cody and Jay did. And I think you said something like, why did they do that just to turn around and get back to Judgment Day?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe to
push this Jimmy thing.
I think so. I think it's just a way to intermingle them both back in to a bloodline story. I think it's a way to get Cody back in, and I think it's a way to further Jimmy and Jay, because I think we're going to see Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania, and then we'll see Cody and Roman at WrestleMania, and then I still think we put LA Knight as a Royal Rumble winner and have him go after that world title.
Yeah, I'm happy with him or Gunther either way.
Yeah, well,
Can you imagine how many super kicks we're going to see at WrestleMania in that match? Our heads might explode.
I'm already ready to get through it. Like, I'm already over it. I can tell you that much right now. Do we want to do? I guess we want to end it, or we want to do?
Yeah, I don't remember much of Fastlane. Honestly.
Well, that's fine. Do we want to do predictions on Saudi Arabia next weekend, or do we want to just do that on?
I have no idea who's even.
I don't either.
We'll just have to do it on the.
Okay,
community.
We'll put it on. Yeah, we'll put it back up on our community page like we always do. We'll give our picks, and then obviously we'll put this title. I'll put this title up. I'll be a defending heel champion.
But let us know what you think after you watch, or if you have watched the Parade of Champions from '84, and if you'd like to see more world class down in the comments.
Yeah, let us know, and let us know if you want to see more world class talk, because we're going to probably cover it at some point. But if you want to see more, we'll definitely do that, or any more other old school stuff. We'll definitely do. We'll go back to. We didn't talk about Fastlane. We'll talk about Saudi next time out, and we'll probably need to get back to a 96 show.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We were supposed to do Hog Wild. We've decided that there's a lot of dreck in, even though that 96 to 97 NWO birth was decent. You've talked about the same way you don't like Roman stuff, is Hogan kind of holds that belt hostage, and it's kind of for a reason. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to focus mainly on WWF, and we'll probably do most of those. But I think we'll just be picky and choosy of We'll sprinkle in some WCW. Yeah. We won't do every WCW as well. We'll just sprinkle in. We'll do like some highlighted pay-per-views or shows, and then that's going to lead into 97, which will be big for WWF.
Yeah, because we're going on both sides.
Yeah, but it's going to be big because we're going to lead to Sting, who will be coming back. He hasn't left yet. He'll be leaving in 96 and coming back as the Crow Sting in the rafters, but that's going to lead to Starrcade at the end of 97.
In that debacle.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to talk about, because that was a debacle. But the build up to that was a big deal. So we're going to cover a little bit of that too. But next time out, we'll do Hog Wild probably, just to get that out of the way, and we'll do some Saudi talk, and then we'll go back into whatever WWE. I think it's Mind Games or something that's coming up.
I believe.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that. We'll get back in the swing of things here real soon, it's been a little while since we've recorded one of these two. But yeah, anyway, let us know about that. Let us know who you want to win at Saudi. If you want to join in on our picks, put it on our community page, and we're going to get out of here. We'll see y'all next time.
Oh, yeah!